Welcome everyone. This is Rahul Reddy. I'm a CLAT mentor with Career Launcher Bangalore. I have with me Sanidhya Kapoor. She has secured an All India rank of 25 in AILET 2025. Right. So congratulations. First up,
Thank you.
results came late in the night. So how did you find out?
Actually, I was getting ready to give SLAT the next day. Around 7 or 8, I was still expecting that,
Hmm.
okay, result will come today, result will come today. Around 9:30, 10, I
Hmm.
was like, okay, fine, it's not coming today. I'll give SLAT
Right.
tomorrow and then I'll see. And then at around 10:30, I got a message and it was like, AILET result has come. And then
Hmm.
I checked and I immediately like screamed for my parents and I was like, it's come, it's come.
Right. And what kind of expect reactions from your parents?
Um, there was a lot of screaming, there was a lot of crying, and initially, like my dad was just looking at the result again and again, and he was just opening the same scorecard, and he was like, "Okay."
Okay.
Um, and then we called up my sister. She's in college right now, so there was a lot of screaming and all going on.
You still gave slant, but
No, no, I didn't.
nothing. Okay, enough of exams for some time. No, because I was just speaking to run with, and he says, "Look, I paid for it. I'm going to write it." Kind of. So he actually went ahead and wrote the exam.
I was in no mood to study more.
Right. So let's kind of take the clock back a little bit. So when did you decide that I think law is something that I should consider or pursue seriously?
I mean, I think as most people say, I knew science wasn't for me. So
Okay.
I knew that was out of the question. And around ninth or 10th, I started taking part in like debates and public speaking and stuff like that. And I really started enjoying it. So I started looking for careers along those lines. And I found law. And as I started reading more and more about it, I started seeing what all is there. And there is much more to law than what people normally think. It's more than just going to a court and solving cases, there's much more to it. So I got more and more interested in it. And yeah, and after that, obviously, once I started preparing for CLAT, I got to talk to people about it, and the interest just grew from there.
Right. So again, for the viewers, when we typically people look at law from civil and criminal law section. What
Yeah.
Sanidhya is trying to say is that there is corporate law, tax law, environmental law, so many other areas that, and a lot of these areas fascinate the young people today. It's not the old-fashioned civil, divorce law, family law, or criminal law. In that sense. Okay, but how do you know? Okay, you said science wasn't for you, but how do you know law is for you? Like, what's the? I mean, from the
Um,
perspective of people who are listening, they say, okay, if I have these abilities, then law would be a good choice.
I think one of the things is you should always be curious to read more because law is all about learning more. Every day there's more to learn. And so that's one thing. Another thing, obviously, would be public speaking. So if you're into that, law would be a great thing. And writing would be another thing that would help in law, I presume.
Right. So, do you remember you joined Career Launcher at the Indiranagar Center, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You remember the day you joined or the first class or something like that?
I actually joined a little after the batches had started. And
Okay.
I remember Deepa ma'am telling me that it'll be okay, I'm not that late. But in my head, I was like, oh, everybody has already started their prep, and I'm a little late for this.
Okay.
But I spoke to Deepa ma'am, she explained everything properly. And the faculty was great. They were all very welcoming. They told me what's going on, everything. And yeah.
Okay. So, through the prep, run us through what you consider the most important points or anything interesting in the entire experience.
I mean, honestly, before the exam, if someone asked me this, I would say GK is the most important. But the paper came such that it wasn't probably the best. After the exam, I think I'll say just be clear with the basics. And since, I mean, a lot of legal questions came from outside the passages, so make sure that you know the basics of legal. Mostly because CLAT before this year they gave all principles in the passage, which was not exactly the case this year. So you have to be clear with all of those. You have to learn all of that as well now.
So even when the principles were given, having learnt it earlier, understanding the language
It
better, it makes
helps
you faster,
because
faster, more
there's not
accurate.
enough time. Obviously, time is a crucial thing in the paper. So if you know the principle, you don't spend so much time trying to understand it. Somewhere or the other, you've read it before.
So one of the things that keeps coming back when I speak to the toppers is that the atmosphere at the centers is one of energy and a lot of competition and uh, arguing with each other and checking how much did you score and how much did I score, and like this is the reason why I think C is the answer. Why do you tell me why do you
Yeah.
think B is the answer, and so on. Right? So
I think
does that part also shape your preparation?
Yeah, I think CLAT and AILET both are both exams in which sometimes the answers are a little subjective. It's not a very objective paper. So to understand how other people are thinking about a question, because your way is not necessarily the right way, is one of the most important things you have to understand for this paper. So to listen to other people's point of views is obviously really important. And what you said about competition, I mean, in the end, it is a competitive exam. So you need to know where you stand. So these people, the small group of 10, 15 you have, if you're not standing anywhere in that, then what chance do you have in a group of 1 lakh? So that's where you start. And those are the
But
people,
this
it's all
group,
healthy competition. It's not,
so the group also helps each other.
yeah.
So uh, with no real disrespect for people who've chosen other careers like engineering or medicine, I think yeah, the learning is a little more fun here, isn't it?
It is, it is. Especially, I mean, my whole family, it's full of engineers.
Right.
So I've seen my sister prepare for like engineering entrances, and I've
Mm.
seen how rigorous that is compared to CLAT and AILET. Those are much more fun to prepare for because there's no particular syllabus, there are no books you have to complete.
And many times parents kind of, at the center say, oh, why are your classes so noisy? Isn't the faculty there inside the class? And so, isn't faculty is there and that's the reason for the noise. So,
It's part of the journey. You can't learn unless you discuss in this.
right. Okay. And you would have given a lot of marks. So tell us a little more
Um,
about the marks.
I mean, marks is one of the most important things, right? Without marks, I think one of the most important things about marks is the environment you give them in. So to go and give physical marks and to understand what the final day will be like Career Launcher itself held mocks at Joseph's at times, which is a CLAT center. So to do that is one of the most important things. Obviously, analyzing mocks is another thing that you have to do because if you're not analyzing the mocks, you're not getting to know your mistakes. So
True.
there's almost no point in giving a mock unless you're analyzing it properly. And marks will always like go up and down. So you have to be able to, if there's a bad mark, you have to be able to say that, okay, this is fine, I'll do better in the next one.
So it does become a bit of a mental game in the end
It
as
does.
we come closer to the exam. So that's one of the reasons why we had decided that, okay, earlier, if we actually look at it for your seniors, we had done, I think, only one or two mocks at the central location. And the year before that, there were none. So this was relatively a newer innovation. We said, okay, we need to make this a once in a month kind of thing, at least for the last 4 months. Make sure that enough experience of a large center works. And yes, Joseph being an actual class center is a bonus.
Yeah,
Because anyway, B.R. Ambedkar and NLS won't give us permission to conduct mocks there. So we are left with only Joseph.
Joseph's.
So for you, CLAT didn't go as well as expected. And
Uh,
they were also cruel enough to release the results the night before AILET. So how did you kind of, pull yourself up?
I had actually I'd seen a few seniors. Like I think Kanav was one of the biggest because I think he got disappointed with his CLAT result. I talked to those seniors who were disappointed with their CLAT results, and then they scored really well in AILET. So there was some hope. So I was like, okay. And I think my parents were a huge support in that week between CLAT and AILET because they were constantly the ones telling me that it's okay, it's done. Now you focus on the next one. And the result being released like the day before, I think by then I was kind of expecting not a great rank, but it was still a pretty big thing. So it took some encouragement from like people around me to move on from that and just focus on the next one.
Something we always say that look, it doesn't mean that the people with the ranks are always the best. They were the best on that day, and
Yeah.
yeah, another day, another set of students, and it's that close. I think even for AILET, we saw one mark making a huge difference. So that's how close it is. Okay, so no more exams till whenever the boards come.
No, only pre-boards obviously in school,
There'll be
but
pre-boards, yes. Okay, but none of these type of exams.
no more tension now. It's done.
Okay. So now, one, we addressed people who are considering law as a career, those who already decided and then started preparing, those who will give it in 26 or maybe 27. What kind of advice would you give?
For people who are considering it, I'd say try reading a bit more about it. Try, if you want, pick up a few mocks and try, especially like the legal section, because that's the most related to the career. So if you are interested in that, it's the perfect choice. Go for it. And for the people who've already decided on it, I'd say just stay consistent, keep working hard, and if you work hard enough, everything else will just fall into place.
Anything specific? Like take this many mocks a day, put 4 hours a day,
I
5 hours a
think
day.
all of that is very subjective. Like how many mocks you take is up to you, how many hours a day you study is up to you. Depends on how productive you're able to be in those hours you put. Like if somebody can put in 4 hours and put in 4 hours properly versus somebody who can put in 8 hours but gets distracted in between. That's all subjective. There's nothing much in that. So in the end, it's all about practice because, again, as I said, there's no syllabus or anything in this.
Right.
So the more you practice, the more questions you do, the better. That's it.
That's an excellent point. In fact, I keep telling people that there's no direct correlation between hours and marks that you get. And in fact, whenever a student says that he or she is putting in more than 6 hours, I get worried. I say cool down, kids. Don't push yourself so much. Don't get burnt out, and don't get overstressed. It's not an exam that requires that kind of hours.
Yeah,
4 or 5 would do, and in first year probably not even that.
there were
It's
times when I
mostly
didn't understand that either. So
right.
I think that's one thing for which you need to have people around you to keep telling you that it's okay to sit back and relax a bit. Because in the end, I think Pratt and AILET are more about the mental thing than about your preparation.
See, the fact that I've actually taken this exam, multiple times, I've seen what it works. I mean, I've seen it happen to students, so which is probably where I come from. And try to, I know the pressure is high at that particular time, last 3 months. So that's where we try to cool things down. Good then. So once again, congratulations, Sanidhya. And as you
You.
said, Delhi is your original home, so you're going back, so that's good. Uh, uh, and Of course, that's still some time away. You have pre-boards and boards, and there's a small matter of the achievers party that we do every year, right? In fact, again, as you must have seen it last year when last year's
Yeah.
toppers came and met a good number this year also. Of course, due to the domicile, etc., a lot of them will be NLS Bangalore. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but parties on. So that will look at it. Okay. So thank you very much, and I hope viewers take something. A lot of interesting tidbits of wisdom in this particular interview for people to look at. Law is a great career, and there are other great careers also. But if somebody is considering that, do your research, and look at your skills. If somebody is very good at language, communication, good reader, understands, articulative, makes argument, then you're probably better suited to this than something else. So you don't have to force yourself to do integral calculus when you can do something else. ठीक है, right. Thank you.
Thank you.